Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Winner Circle Sports Betting Podcast. I'm your host, Sean Higgs. Today is Thursday, the 22nd, and I'm joined by Doug Upstone as the Chipper is recuperating. He had a little bit of dental work done. I don't, you know what, Chip, if you don't want people to know, well, now they know I haven't been here all week. At least they know you're alive. So we'll get that out of there. And I did not do a day in Chipper sports today. Yesterday I had a bunch. I didn't roll one out today because, I was like, hey, I got Doug with me today, so it'll be things to talk about. And before we get to some Major League Baseball, let's talk about the Winner Circle YouTube channel. Hit the like button, like you should have already been doing. Notification bells on so you know when we do our show here, Monday to Thursday, recorded baseball, but soon to be football picks next week with college football week 1 coming. And check out our glorious sponsor, GamblerWorld.net, where you find me, Doug, 11 other top handicappers giving you plays in not just baseball or college football week 0 or NFL week 3 preseason. We got you covered. $5.99 NFL early bird up now, plus our discounted baseball $2.99 for the remainder of the season there. But let's be honest, folks. You're probably like fed up with baseball. You're drooling because you've had preseason NFL, and now you have a little taste of some college this weekend, so you're chomping at the bit for some college football. Let's well, first I'm going to ask, of course, Doug is doing everything like that, and he will tell us how well he's been crushing things. But let's we got some football tonight. We got some college football this weekend. What are your thoughts with football ahead here? Is baseball, to me, I had a couple bad losses last night. I mean, I had the Brewers, are you kidding me? Walking in, I mean, I got football here. So baseball, as these lines get out of hand, I mean, we got Patrick Corbin, who's been brutal. The guy's a 160 favorite. That tells you how bad Quantrill and the Rockies are. I mean, it's okay to sift away from baseball into football, which is what I'm doing. And I don't know. If you probably think around the same routes as me to get away from huge favorites in baseball as the season progresses.
Yeah,
football has arrived.
As we talked about the other day, and I was also on the Brewers yesterday, Sean, so we can commiserate in misery because it was that, I don't know. I'm just running out of things to say about extra inning losses. Now 7 and 16.
Actually, Doug, they were down 2-0. They get back in the game. They go up 4-2. They blow it. They go up 6-4. Then you walk in runs, and then we get out of that inning and hit batter, another walk. Like, they just bring in guys that hit people and walk people.
Here's the other part that I liked about it that set me up the best, because in my write-up on the game, I had, among the reasons that Milwaukee will win this game is because they have the number 2 bullpen, okay, in Major League Baseball. Only one other team is better than them, and they give up 8 runs yesterday, the bullpen. Now, I know that can happen, okay? It can happen in any game. My question always is, why does it have to happen this game?
Yeah, in my game that I have it on.
I'm worn out. I am. I am physically and mentally worn out from this extra inning stuff for years. Anyway, so yeah, so that's but I continue to go, but again, like we talked about the other day, it's really cut back. You start looking at the stuff, it just cross that game off, cross that game off, cross that game off. Okay, I got 5 to look at. Okay,
yeah,
that's it. Okay, so what can I find that's my best one for 5, or however it works? So that's exactly what I'm doing. But yeah, we got week 3 in the NFL for preseason football. I don't know about you. I have one game up right now here at gamblersworld.net, and it's the Friday game between the Bucks and Miami. So I have that one up. Interesting note, and this game actually fits the bill, but I can tell you it fits the bill. That's not necessarily what I'm playing, just so we're clear on this. But the games, this is based on the closing line. If the closing line so far this NFL preseason is 1-3, the underdog is 14-4 so far. And it was 13-8 last year, and I forget how many years, but it's over 60% longer term. I think it's 5 years is what it is, something like that. But so there's a number of games that fit. Now, just like I said, though, always keep in mind that's based on the closing line, not what the line is necessarily, right at this moment, especially on a Thursday, looking at games on Saturday and Sunday. But there's quite a few games that I noticed, though, I'm sure you did as well, that flipped. So one team was favored and now they're underdogs. And in some cases, some of these lines have moved like 7 or more points. So, quite dramatic that way.
Yeah. Well, this is actually one of them because it went from Miami being a 1.5 point favorite to a 3-point underdog.
Right.
And a few others, because I know I have a couple of these games that moved, and you're like, wow. And it's not necessarily means you're going to win on this, because I had the Giants at +5 the other day, and it went down to 2, and it was a loser. But the Steelers line, 3 up to 6. Colts, 3 up to 5.5. I mean, Carolina, 2 up to what, 4? I mean, the lines move. It's a but again, I think we saw this last week as well. And is it going to be a 26-6 underrun continuing? I think I'm not sure. I could see them all probably going under again in glorious fashion, because you have half the teams last week that moved like this. It was, well, our starters are going to play, and the other team wasn't. Now you have teams it was like Dallas here. Like, they're home. They're going to play their guys. That line has moved. They were on the road. They start the season on the road. Maybe they say, hey, fans, we're not going to see you till mid-September. Here's some starters to keep you happy for a little bit. The line moves. It's
that's the other thing too with just 3 games is that you mentioned Dallas. I know Green Bay is another one where they haven't played at home, and so you have to wonder to a certain degree. You always. I mean, not many people are going to these games. Certainly, sellouts are not like they used to be, and even the prices of these games are.
Well, that's it. They're crazy.
Yeah, much lower.
I told you down here, the Texans are upper deck preseason are like $100 and some. I'm like, get that guy. I'm not spending $500 to go watch some guy. I don't. It cost me $10 to get into a high school game, and I'm going to see guys who are going to be playing D1 football somewhere. I'm not going to spend that to go watch a bunch of nobodies play for the Texans. I could get a better game at a high school football stadium by my house.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's from a standpoint of and it's not even, it used to be too, that was always great too. We've talked about a number of times that when about watching preseason games is that, like week 3 when there was 4 weeks, week 3, you'd watch the games. You'd watch the first half because you knew that you could potentially learn something about the teams going into the first week or first couple of weeks of the season. Didn't always happen. Excuse me, but you could, and now that seems kind of out the window.
I gotta say, I'm having a 500 season, which is really out of the ordinary. Normally, you're most times I'm in the 57, 63% range of preseason, because it's a scripted thing, as it's scripted as in fixed, but scripted as the coaches say, hey, these guys are going to play, and it usually worked out that way. Then we saw stuff like, Josh Allen, he's playing, and a line goes crazy, and the guy ends up not playing. So it's a little more difficult this year, and maybe going forward, it's something maybe I don't really try to go in and get early lines on that haven't just because the early I've not beat them. It's you always want that CLV right in the long run, but the long run in preseason is 3 weeks, so it might not transpire the way I want it to, like of course of a regular season football or basketball or baseball season.
Well, how it might turn out too is that and this will change a lot of dynamics. I mean, the NFL is pushing hard for an 18th week. Okay, and so with that in mind, if that's the case, they're going to lop off one more preseason game. So that's just kind of it seems like it's inevitable that will happen. And so, that would pretty much be the death of, let's just say, I would think not completely, but betting NFL preseason, because there's not much to find, and so that would be the death. But go ahead.
I was going to say, let's take another game away. So you'll add another bye week, and obviously that rolls into the Super Bowl being held on President's Weekend, and then the holiday the next day, which is probably their thought process to make it a giant party weekend for the host city. But can we look at the product on the field now? With you got rid of the 2-a-day kind of practices. It's like no contact. It's too hot out. Guys are getting hurt. The quarterback play is atrocious. I say this all the time. It is terrible. You have a handful of elite guys, maybe a couple really elite, and then good guys, and then you got a pile of steaming poop at the bottom and guys who are like, oh, he's okay. You have a giant 10 through 25 of, I guess you're kind of happy, but you're always looking for still something better because they're not Mahomes and whoever you want to put that to, Lamar or whatever. And then you got the bottom tier of trashola, whoever you want to put as your worst quarterback. They need these quarterbacks playing football for all the preseason games. They need as much practice. You can't not play and expect to go in September, hop on a field and expect crispness from the passing, because it's all passing now, right? That might have been fine in 1986 or 96 or 2006 when you ran the ball more. Now running backs are nobodies, right? They don't need running backs. We're going to throw the ball. Scoring is still down. And you give touch fouls to wide receivers, pass interference. Oh, you push the quarterback down when you're in your motion, 15 yards, and scoring is still down. It's a problem. Let them play. It's bad news bears. Let them play. Let them play.
I agree with you. And here's something else. Now, I wrote an article about this last week, okay, at another location. And one of the things, and actually, I strongly believe this now, with how preseason has changed, going to 3 games, first of all, and then the what you're talking about, the advent of lack of playing. Okay. I know they have their scrimmages, controlled scrimmages. They do they're looking at a lot of different things that we're not seeing. I get all that. But, it seems like now by adding that extra game, and if you add more, it'll only accentuate the point, is that, the first 2 weeks of the regular season don't mean much. Okay. And the reason I say that is because with a longer season, the only thing you really want to do is not be 0-2. That's really the only thing that matters, because then you're digging out of a hole. But if you go 1-1 and you learn some things about your team, okay, right away that you used to be able to figure out more or less in the preseason, what's the big deal? So I'm a firm believer is that in right now, I've always been this way, but even more so, super cautious the first week and maybe even 2 weeks of the NFL season. I mean, I would never recommend myself more than 3 bets, okay, on these games, because you just literally don't know what you're going to see. That's my opinion on it, but you may disagree. And that's fine. I'm not saying, I certainly wouldn't say that you're wrong.
No, they're good points. Like I jump into week 1 of NFL. I'm thinking this is what I expect to happen. I think I have like 9 games already.
Okay, yeah.
And because preseason, short of the quarterback getting hurt, and I know they're not going to play, so they're really not going to get hurt. I'm kind of, the lines are set. Everyone pretty much knows what's going on, and there's that, Mm-hmm. And I think about that. People are like, how do you bet on Sunday? The game's not till next week. Something could happen during the week. What's going to happen? I mean, the quarterback is not going to break his leg during the week. And if that happens, so be it. I mean, it's such a rarity, But you're right. Like, you go 1-1, most teams are going to be 1-1. You're all right. Then it's kind of, as long as you're not getting that 0-2 hole, right? Because that's the whole thing. Like, you start 0-2, no team's ever made the Super Bowl, or that kind of nonsense starts being talked about. And I don't know. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of the 17-game preseason. I wasn't a fan when they cut the NFL preseason, not the 17 preseason, the full adding a game and getting rid of a game. I get it's all a money grab. You're putting teams playing in Brazil. They're in Europe, right? I mean, like this, it weighs on the product. The product is, I think the product is suffering a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's not suffering in terms of viewing.
No,
but the quality of the product is diluted. There is no question about that. And you have X number of quarterbacks drafted, each and every year. Obviously, not all of them are going to work out, but boy, I mean, you used to be, you could pretty make a case for a top 10 pretty easily. You're hard pressed to really say it, and the top 10 was good. Okay, maybe 8, 9, and 10 could vary depending on what you thought, But now, I mean, you get past 5 or 6, the drop off.
And it's like, well, he's getting paid $160 million. Look at Trevor Lawrence. Look at Dan. Well, that is the going rate for a quarterback.
Right.
I'm not saying it's right that they get paid, but if that's what someone's going to pay the guy, you can't get mad because somebody else paid A. You have to pay your guy. That's just the way it is. The Texas the Mariners decided that A-Rod was worth $150 million. The Rangers said you're worth $180 million. That was the going rate for a guy. It wasn't. That's how you had to start paying starting pitchers because Kevin Brown made $30 million. You're going to pay a quarterback X amount of dollars. That sets a rate for everybody. We're off to the races. $55 million for Dak. Is Dak worth $55 million? All right? Because every talk about it, you got to win while they're on a rookie contract. Well, good luck for that. If you got a quarterback on a rookie contract, it's because your team was terrible and you're drafted in the top 5, and maybe you got lucky with a quarterback. It's and you see these products. Look how many quarterbacks. I don't want to – C.J. Stroud. Okay, well, for C.J. Stroud, I'll give you Trey Lance.
Yeah.
Right. Zach Wilson on another team. Howell on a new team. How about Jake Locker? How'd that work out for – Josh Rosen never got a chance. It's ridiculous. We could just talk. I could just go on and on. We're 15 minutes talking. The football and listen. I'll have 120 games bet this year in NFL, but it is lackluster to me. It needs improvement.
Yeah, I'd like to see scoring go back up, and be less conservative with the short passes. I know they're trying to take what's being given to them, but there was more running last year than there was the previous few years, and so maybe that's a good strategy to try and open up the passing game is to run the ball more. I hope so. I think that the running game adds to a better. I think it makes the game better.
Yes,
myself.
All right. Speaking of football. Right. Yeah, let's go. NFL's back. $5.99 season specials are up. 3, 7, 30-day packages guaranteed on the site, which means if we don't show profit 3, 7, or 30 days, we credit you back. You go on, boom, get another cap if you want, or roll with whoever had a bumpy weekend for you. Again, $5.99 early bird. And tomorrow is Football Friday. Mark Lawrence making his debut here on the playbook guy. And Victor King will be back. So we'll have live NFL tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern. Comments are open. Again, last week we saw people like, where's all the baseball picks? Well, we're going to be shifting. It's football season. I'm glad people love baseball because I love betting on baseball, but let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Everybody loves the NFL and college football. Football live tomorrow, Football Friday, 1 p.m. Eastern. Now, baseball. I happen to go 2-0 without Chip with us. Bring us, and with you on Monday, a 4-0 week for us on the video. And if we go back to last week, Monday to Thursday, me, you, and Chip, a combined 8-2-1, which I think is a pretty good run of Major League Baseball in the chat. We got 2 games today. You'll be looking at our buddy Jim's Philadelphia, or as I call them, the Philadelphia Phillies, with their bad cheesesteaks over there. Sanchez on the hill. Small favorite. It's like a 110 either way here against Schwellenbach. Listen, I said the other day because I had the Braves under last night here. 71-48 to the under with these guys. They're just a under machine, not hitting well. I don't want to steal all your thunder here. I'm going to let you talk about the game, and I got a couple things I want to say about Sanchez, but I don't know if you're going to talk about it first, so I'll let you go here. Sanchez, Schwellenbach. Can the Braves rally back from the deficit here and overtake the Phillies in the East? What do you got?
That part I don't know, but one thing you mentioned Jim, the owner of this site. So Jim, if you're listening right now, okay, with what I'm about to talk about, you might want to turn the sound down. I'm just giving you a little heads up on that one in this one. So, but Philadelphia, they did square the series with a victory yesterday to widen their lead over Atlanta. Sean mentioned Christopher Sanchez, 9-8, 3.46 ERA. This game's going to be on Fox. I'm not sure if it's if it's a straight regional game or if it's one major and one minor game, but it's going to be on Fox somewhere. And he's coming off one of his best performances of the year, a 2-hit complete game against Washington last Saturday. However, even with that brilliant record or brilliant performance, his ERA in his last 5 starts is 5.17. Braves will attempt to get within 6 games of Philadelphia in this one. They hold the last wild card presently in the National League. And I'm going to give you my best Harry Carey on this one because this is the one that he would love. Pitching now is Spencer Schwallenbach, okay, for Atlanta. Okay, he's 4
You
and
need
6.
a beer. You got to be holding a beer while you do the carry on.
I would need a Budweiser or a Hams when he was with the White Sox. Anyways, but this Atlanta hurler, he's given up 3 runs or less in 6 of his last 7 starts, and in his last 25 innings, Sean, 36 Ks.
Yes,
impressive. So he's been sharp. So Braves beat Sanchez the last 2 times they faced him last September, and they're also 23 and 13 against left-handed starters. Give me the home team on the short number in this NL East encounter with Atlanta.
So I'm official play Doug Upstone, Braves minus the 115. I'm gonna add a little, I guess not fuel to the fire, but I'm gonna be backing you here with taking Atlanta. So Sanchez, I mentioned he's like one of the guys here for Philly, along with Suarez, and we talk about other players who have kind of overachieved for the first half of the year, and here comes catching up with their arms and tiredness and the back of the card and all this nonsense. A 2.41 ERA heading to the end of May. Now it is a 3.46, so a full run higher. So it gets a little hot, right? Turn the heat up. But is that part of the problem because the batters are swinging a little better, or the fact that last year a total of 99 innings, here he's at 140. So if we take away the last 47, that'll bring us back to when he had that 2.40 ERA. So again, I find correlation and stuff like that. I know I talk, and I'll be talking about like whips and stuff like that and pitchers. These guys who don't have a lot of innings and you start hitting career high in innings, you see it affects them. Maybe just for a couple starts or a few. You've seen it for the last month and a half, nearly 2 months now with this guy. He's 50 innings over what he had last year almost, and the ERA's jumped to full run. Take the Braves here. Schwallenbach's just striking guys out left and right. He seems to be getting stronger as the year goes on. Because last year he had a little bit. Maybe he's got a little more in the tank, and he's taking that little step forward. Braves minus 115, official play for the show, and I'm gonna back it up. I agree with it. Moving on. We're hitting the like button first, so be sure to hit the like button on the YouTube channel. Let's go. All right, folks? Got to get these numbers up. Rookie numbers. Let's get to 15K. I want it by the end of the year, but honestly, I want it before that. I just keep saying end of the year because I got to be hopeful. I got the New York Metropolitans and the San Diego Padres. We got a little Sevy sighting, ex-Yankee guy versus Dylan Cease. And I'm not going to play games here. There's no way I'm laying a 160, right? And even run lines plus a 130. I get it. You know, you got the Mets big home run yesterday to win it. The walk-off. I hate walk-off. Can we go back to game winning? Can we call it a game winning hit? I remember baseball cards like game winning RBIs. Like that was kind of a cool stat. Like, guys kind of clutch. But then it was like, well, you got a game winning RBI in the third inning on a ground ball. They're not really good. I disagree. It's a game-winning hit. Stop with the walk-off nonsense. Walk-off singles, walk-off walks. Who's the guy who buried me and Doug last night for the Cardinals with a walk-off grand slam? All right, it's a grand slam. Hype it up. Some solo. I mean, come on. Who are you? Jesse? Who's that? Jesse Winker or Suarez? Who is dancing around for the Mets?
Yes, Winker.
Yeah, ridiculous. Anyway, so you're in New York yesterday. You're in beautiful San Diego today. I got Sevy coming off a complete game shutout. Does it even count because it was against the Marlins? Season high in pitches, complete game. They're giddy off of a win, which maybe they think could catapult them into better wild card position. I'm not buying it. The last time Sevy faced major league hitters and not a glorified travel team from junior college in Miami Marlins, 4 runs Seattle, 5 runs for the Rockies, 6 runs for the Twinkies. That is 15 runs in 13 innings on 20 hits. Forget about it. I'm going to go Padres. How about a team total over 4.5 runs here? Plus 135. I'm doing team total. Dylan Cease has been dealing. He's been like Cy Cease. 5-1 his last 7. He's got the tidy .81 whip that I love. If you're putting less than a guy on base, you're going to have a chance to win games here. He'll buckle down the Mets. Sevy's been bad. 4.5 runs. I think we could have this by the I don't know. People might be on first 5 unders there. I don't want to hurt anybody who thinks it's going to be an underplay. Let's just say we're going to get a 6-piece here. 6-1 Padres, we'll call it.
All right. Well, there's some good courage for you. I like the aggressiveness. Okay. And then, and as long as they don't get shut out, you're going to look good because you're being aggressive, Sean. That's the name of the game. It doesn't matter if you're right or wrong. As long as you're aggressive, that's all that matters.
I can't take a 160. And when I say run line, I could do a run line. Listen, I'm taking a 4.5 for their run. So obviously I think they're going to score. So if you want to do that instead, I don't hate it. But I figured people kind of like run lines. We gotta switch it up for the people. Sometimes they don't like full game sides and totals. They want first fives. They like their Nerfies. Team totals are kind of hip for the youngsters. So I'll go hipster style here.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go hipster style myself because I do have a Nerfy play on this one.
All right.
Both these teams come in. They're 5-5 in their last 10. So you mentioned Severino off a complete game. I think that will bode well, at least for the first inning in terms of confidence for him. So I think that's good. Dylan Cease, as you mentioned, he's been super for months. So he's been really good. The number's a little higher than I prefer, but you know what? I got to come up with something for the show. It's -160. So I'm going to go under first inning, 0.5 at -160.
Oh my goodness.
And also like the Mets might be, had the game yesterday, a lot of emotion, traveling across country, might be a little flat at the beginning of this game, which Cease can take advantage of. So I'm going to go under on first inning for San Diego and the New York Mets.
Cease with a 197 batting average against the lad here at home.
Yep.
So pretty good home numbers. And the Padres, who knows if they'll overtake the Dodgers, man. They are playing pretty good lately.
Now, just to ask the question, you mentioned about run line. Would you, instead of the 160, would you be interested in the adjusted run line of -1? Would you consider that? Let's say if it's around 130 to 125?
Yeah, that would be, I can't get, I don't like doing like 140s. So I can't, 160, I don't want to lay.
Right.
Because then I got to win 2 to get back. I can't win a game and a half, and then I'm in for a 2 spot. So I'd rather. Sometimes, like you, Doug, we look at this board. Sometimes you just rather pass on a game too, and not even get involved. Like, why even bother with that? I'm not gonna, especially this time of year. I find this time of year I've had a little rough 2 weeks here in August, and that's fine. At least it's come all the way to August where dogs are not really barking too much, which is I understand that. That's the nature of the beast in baseball. The cream rises to the top. You get separation between the haves and have-nots. It grows as the season goes. The fact that it's the 22nd and I'm finally hitting a little rough patch, it's a good baseball season. I'm not going to complain about it, especially with football. Because with football here, I'm not, like you said, you're going to look at the baseball schedule. If something grabs you, you'll circle it, but you're going to have college and NFL, a lot of games to worry about. On top of the fact that hockey and NBA are going to be rolling out. They said, you know what? Yeah, we're winter sports, but let's start playing games in September. That's wonderful for everybody involved. What are we doing here for basketball? NBA start at Christmas. What are we doing? Your in-game nonsense. We'll save the in-game tournament talk soon enough. We'll talk about that in October with the stupid NBA. All right. You got rank galores today for me. NBA in-season tournament, they haven't even started yet, the regular season or preseason, and quarterback play, which is despicable in my eyes because I was such a great athlete. I could criticize these guys in the NFL.
And rightfully you should, by the way, too.
All right. 4-0 for the week. 8-2-1, me, Doug, and Chipper the last Monday through Thursdays with the recorded baseball picks. So we're going to keep it going today. Doug, Braves at -115. I'm on the Padres team total over 4.5 plus 135. On the way out, hit the like buttons. Subscribe to the YouTube channels. Head on over to gamblersworld.net. Check out the daily packages, the daily picks, season passes, all up. NFL, early bird $5.99. The remainder of baseball $2.99. Guaranteed 3 7/38 packages. Support the show here. Comments always welcome. Tomorrow we are live, 1 p.m. Mark Lawrence, Victor King. I wonder if Mark's going to come in with a nice little goatee. I don't think he is. I think he's a clean-shaven gentleman.
He is.
I don't know. I'm gonna try to make a little joke maybe about the mole people. I said yesterday I'm gonna hit this on the way out, so you don't have to have much reactions. I said, well, tomorrow I'm gonna have Doug with me unless the craters open up in Arizona, and the center Earth mole people come out and grab them. I said, because I know as much as you love your conspiracy guy with the moon landing, I said I had to make a mole people joke.
There we go.
If I bring it up during the show, I said it to Seth, I said, Doug's going to have a look on his face like, what am I doing on this channel with this lunatic? So I figured I'd save it to the end of the show.
Well, no, so the other thing, I mean, you could have rolled up at any time because, I am speaking to you now regularly. Okay. I get the whole thing here. So it's going to take something to surprise me anymore. I'll just primarily smile. Okay. And then if I look away, it's like, well, okay, that's what he meant by that. But normally I'll just look at the camera, I'll smile and no other expression. And I'll just let you guess what I'm thinking. And the people watching as well.
That's what my wife and kids said. Like, you speak like Shawnees. You can't say that to people. They don't know what you're trying to be funny or stuff. I said, that's the best of it. They don't know. They'll never know if I'm serious about the center Earth mole people. Comments open for center Earth mole people. If there's people inside the Earth, anybody. Oh, man. This will be a fun show tomorrow. We need Stop Geo in his crazy comments as well in the live chat. All right, everyone. I'm out of here. For Doug, myself, GamblersWorld.net, and the mole people. Good luck.